Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Welcome in. We got a football Friday, and I'm going to say it. It's early in the relationship. I know, so I don't want to scare anyone off. But Trea Turner, I love you. There, I said it. It's out there. It's in the open. Everybody knows it. Trea Turner, I love you. A lot. I love you a lot. Big fan of Trea Turner. I don't know if you guys have noticed that over the last couple of months, really, ever since Harper said the thing on the broadcast, and then now Trea Turner's here. Go figure. But I watched the press conference yesterday, and he was amazing. He was very. I know a lot of people just want him to come right out and say, and I heard Howard Eskin asking the question, hey, I know you're a great guy. I know you're honest and you're wonderful and well, you're awesome. And I think Howard was about to say I love you as well, even before I got to say it. But anyway, Howard asked him basically where you're hitting in the lineup. We'll give you Trea Turner's answer on that. One of the things that was really great about that answer was that I think he was honest. And he revealed he got a call from Kyle Schwarber in the process as well. So how about that? So we'll get into that conversation regarding Trea Turner, where he's going to hit in the lineup, what he knows about Philadelphia, what he expects from Philadelphia, and how much did Bryce Harper really have to do with him coming to Philadelphia? His buddy, his pal, his amigo, his compadre. Bryce Harper, what did he really have to do with him coming to Philadelphia? Oh, and then there's this other thing. The Eagles play at 1 o'clock on Sunday against the division rival, the New York Giants. So let's see what happens there. What a show. What a day we have for you today. Let's start it off with Trea Turner and that conversation with him coming to Philadelphia, putting on the jersey, number 7 yesterday. Dave Dombrowski putting the jersey on him. They sit down, they answer questions. He talked about the atmosphere in Philadelphia, how that definitely helped lure him to the city of brotherly love, the outpouring of love in the playoffs for this baseball team, how rocking it was here in Philadelphia for this baseball team as they took on the Braves, as they took on the Padres. He was watching the whole process, and he was amazed by the love and support that this Philadelphia Phillies team got from their city. He saw that. He's played here for the Nationals. He knows how bumping Citizens Bank Park has been. In his time, though, as a ball player, Philadelphia Phillies have not been a good baseball team for the vast majority of his career. As a matter of fact, remember that little World Series that the Nationals won? Trea Turner was a big part of that. And it was the year after Bryce Harper signed with Philadelphia. So it's not like the man doesn't know what a bumping stadium is like, and he understands that Philadelphia can certainly get to that gear as well, as he saw in the playoffs. He said that was definitely a factor as to why he chose to play in Philadelphia. He credited family and friends, being close to that for his wife. Yeah, people can come here and visit him and all that stuff. It's easy to see everybody, and that's a beautiful thing. But I have no doubt in my mind, Bryce Harper and Kevin Long, regardless of what he had to say yesterday, and we'll let you hear it, I have no doubt in my mind the process all came to fruition because of the courtship done by Kevin Long, the Phillies hitting coach, and Bryce Harper. Good on you, fellas, for making this a place that he wanted to come and play. Because as the East Coast city, teams that trade in Florida, where he's from, it's not exactly just the Phillies. He's got options there, but decided that this was the place, in fact, that he wanted to be. And I think it was because of comfort, Bryce Harper being here already and Kevin Long already being here, and proximity to his wife's family over there in Jersey. Whatever. I was like, when he was done talking about what was so great and why he chose Philadelphia, I was like, yeah, you're here. I don't really. The $300 million, the report is you turned down $340 from the Padres. What the hell? And then you just wanted to come here and play in front of Philadelphia fans and play with your boys. Come on in, man. And he took one glance at this lineup as well. Yeah, I think I can help him out a little bit at the top of that order. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So I'm all for it. Now, here he is talking about just how much Bryce Harper and Kevin Long had to do with coming to Philadelphia. Here's what he said yesterday.
Bryce texted me a little bit early on and told me, he was there for us. Any questions? Kristen had been texting Kayla a little bit about that as well. What the lifestyle's like, all that, things you can't really see, on the field. So they answered a lot of our questions. And then the morning of, I called Kevin Long and I said, "What do we got?" And so I talked to him, and I still have questions about the hitting coach. I don't know about
Let
him.
us know if you're comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but had a pretty good phone call with him and just what his perspective and I think a lot of the things he said matched up with what I believed. But it's nice hearing it from the inside, and So I talked to them quite a bit, talked to Schwarber a little bit, but they did a pretty good job of, not trying to influence me too much one way or the other. And I think it was kind of our decision, and that was a nice aspect of it. And we're excited to join these guys.
I have zero doubt that Long and Harper were respectful about the situation. I doubt Bryce Harper every day was texting him going, "Hey, you coming? Hey, you coming? Hey, you here yet? Hey, were you signing? He does a great buzz play." I doubt that's the way it went. I think they're very respectful about the situation, but I also think they kind of knew that Trea Turner wanted to be here in Philadelphia. When a player starts talking about personal things and starts talking about his wife, his kid, his family, when he starts talking about that, that's all stuff you know already. It's not like you need to be told, "Hey, Philadelphia is close to Jersey." No way. Oh, well, convinced. You sold me. Thanks, geography. No, it's not the way to went down. So I believe this has been in the works for a long time. And it's not like he needs to get to know Bryce Harper. That's already happened. It's not like he needs to get to know certain people in this organization already. That's already happened. So for me, when I listen to that, I hear, good. Probably what happened was, these guys told him, yes, it's as good as you think it is. Get over here. And that's all he really needed to hear after geography. So good. Whatever. He's here. That's all I give a damn about. And he's going to be playing shortstop and most likely batting second for the Phillies. I don't know how you guys read this, but here's how I read this. This is Trea Turner yesterday when he was asked by Howard Eskin whether or not he was going to be the leadoff hitter. He was asked whether or not he's going to bat second, third, leadoff. Where's he going to be? Here's how Trea Turner answered that question.
I will say, I did get a phone call this morning from Kyle Schwarber, and he asked me the same question. And I hadn't thought about it much, but you guys got a pretty good leadoff hitter. We have a pretty good leadoff hitter in Schwarber. And I don't know if he stole a lot of bases last year. He's kind of coming around there. So I don't know if I want to kick him out of there or, I don't know what it may be, but I think it's going to be fun playing in this lineup up from top to bottom. I think there's so many guys that can contribute. So I'm excited. I don't really have a preference, truthfully. I don't really care. But I'm gonna give Schwartz a hard time on that one.
How do you not love that guy already? He gets a phone call from Kyle Schwarber who says, "So what are you thinking about in the lineup?" I don't know how that went down. What I gathered, and tell me how you guys read this. This is how I read it. What I gathered from that was Kyle Schwarber's like, "All right, so do you want to bat lead off?" And Trea Turner, "No, you did such a great job." And I think they had a polite conversation. He did preface everything by saying, "This is up to Dave Dombrowski, Sam Fold. This is up to Rob Thompson. This isn't up to me. This is up to the guys that actually make the lineup card. So this isn't up to me." I'm sure he'd like to lead the way. I never really understood leadoff hitters until I would listen to Jimmy Rollins talk about leading off, because you only lead off once per game, but you do usually lead your team in at bats and plate appearances, so that usually has something to do with it. But I'll never forget Charlie Manuel flipping Shane Victorino and Jimmy Rollins in the order one time, and I think it was against the Mets. And Jimmy had been struggling, and Charlie wanted to shake things up a little bit. And, of course, Jimmy always wanted to be his idol, Ricky Henderson, so he's a leadoff hitter. He's always a leadoff hitter. That's what he does. He leads off. And I never really thought that much about the mindset behind it and why you love it, other than the fact that he always wanted to be that because of Ricky Henderson. So that, to me, is something that I never really understood until Charlie flipped him and Shane Victorino. After the game, they catch up with him in the locker room, in the clubhouse, and they say, "Jimmy, how was it today batting second?" And Jimmy, he wasn't terrible about it. He wasn't a horrendous attitude or anything like that. And the Phillies won that day. But this phrase stuck out to me. And it sounds obvious, but when you hear it from the guy who was doing it, who was leading off, and of course went right back to the leadoff spot, I think the next game, I remember Jimmy saying, when they said, "Hey, how was it for you today?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I got to help the team, and we got to win, and we got whatever it takes." And Shane was in the top spot today, so we got the win, and Shane led the way. And I remember thinking, that's what it is. because I never thought of Jimmy. Like, yes, he was batting number one in the lineup, but I never thought of him, and nobody really ever did, as the prototypical leadoff hitter, swinging at the first pitch. Like the way we would talk about, almost Ben Simmons free throws. Okay, the way we would talk about Donovan McNabb worm burners, right? Those things that just stick with players. What stuck with Jimmy Rollins was swinging at the first. Oh, why is he swinging at the first pitch? You're leadoff hitter supposed to take pitches. So the prototypical leadoff hitter never really applied to my opinion of Jimmy Rollins. I just always thought that's what he would do. He was just always the guy that wanted to go yard. He would be too aggressive, wouldn't see too many pitches, wouldn't lead the way. But that was the mentality of Jimmy Rollins. And what came along with it was the idea of leading the way. He was the first guy up to see that pitcher. Generally speaking, leadoff hitters are supposed to go up there. They're supposed to take pitches. I remember stories with Lenny Dykstra in the 93 Phillies going up to the plate, fouling off pitches left to right. If it was a guy that they hadn't seen, a pitcher that Phillies hadn't seen at all, Lenny Dykstra would go up there and make sure he worked like a 10-pitch at bat. That's leading the way. But in Jimmy Rollins' mentality, it was leading the way, was just being the first batter up there, showing you how you can hit this guy. Not taking too many pitches, at least that was the MO, but at least going up there and leading the way. Trea Turner, Kyle Schwarber, whoever leads the way, I think this lineup is going to rake in runs. But I think there's something about Kyle Schwarber leading the way that he just is very comfortable with. When he moved him down, when Joe Girardi moved him down in the lineup, didn't work out too well, moved him back to the top spot, started hitting bombs again. So that is something that I think is in the player's mindset of leading the way. I'm the first guy to get a crack at that pitcher. There's something about that some baseball players absolutely love. Some hitters absolutely love. There's others that want to sit back there on the bench for a second, watch what he's doing, sit in the on-deck circle, watch what the pitcher's doing, watch what the leadoff hitter is doing, and break it down from there on out. But it really comes down to a mentality, and it really comes down to an identity that I'm the leadoff hitter. I lead the way. For me, as long as those bats are in the lineup, I'm not going to be too disappointed. I still, with all this being said, really hope Trea Turner is the leadoff hitter of the Philadelphia Phillies. And right after that, I'd love to see Kyle Schwarber knock him in. Love to see Kyle Schwarber step to the plate and knock him in. So that's Trea Turner's press conference from yesterday. By the way, I didn't even mention my man, Jordan Raanan joins the program. I've known Jordan Raanan for almost 20 years. And the other day I called him in ESPN, and for the first time I heard him say Raanan, like heavy stank on the beginning. It's like put stank on Farzy, like Farsetta, right? It's like, I'm not going to start saying my name like that. Don't worry, like that. Natives will say it like that. But anyway, so I was like, oh, okay. So I talked to him before the interview. I go, Raanan? He goes, yeah. Put it, started. Put it. He's like, I don't even know if I'm saying it right anymore, but yeah, that's the way I'm saying it. I'm like, okay, yeah, my man. Sounds good. So he'll join us today, Giants beat reporter from ESPN, and he'll give us the latest on the Giants, including Saquon Barkley coming down with a neck injury. So we'll talk about that with Jordan Raanan coming up in just a minute. But let's talk about that Giants and Eagles matchup, shall we? Eagles looking to improve to 12-1 on the season. Are you kidding me? Giants are terrible. We all know what the Eagles do, and I will certainly toot that horn in just a moment. But good God, man, the Giants are terrible. They got nobody. And I even, in my dark recesses of my brain that I go to and tell you guys about every once in a while, I even started to think, well, Saquon now has a neck injury? That can't be good. Their offensive line has been banged up. That definitely wasn't good. Saquon is only averaging 2.8 yards per carry over his last 3 games. That's definitely not good. The Giants have no wide receivers. Darius Slayton has broken out a little bit. He's had some injury issues, but nothing worth bragging about. I just don't respect Daniel Jones. I know a lot of people will be like, well, I respect him, but no, I don't respect Daniel Jones. Defensively speaking, they apply a lot of pressure. They don't get a lot of pressure, but they apply a lot of pressure. They don't score a lot of points. They're actually not terrible at the stopping teams from scoring. But as I'm like going through this, and I'm like, well, who's the guy on the Giants that I'm like terrified? Who's the guy? Oh man, other than Saquon Barkley, who is the guy? And even the guy, Saquon Barkley, is a little banged up. And I started to think, in the dark recesses of my mind, I started to think, wait a minute. I'm not scared of anyone. So does that mean I should be scared? Does that mean I'm taking this team too lightly? Does this mean that the Eagles can take this team too lightly? No. Ultimately what I think is not impacting. I know some people like to be superstitious, but for me, I'm not looking at the Eagles and going, I don't want to put a hex on them by thinking I'm taking this Giants team too lightly, because they're not taking this Giants team too lightly. I don't think the Eagles take teams too lightly. I think the Commanders game was the one exception, not where they took them too lightly, but they just made too many mistakes. It was the game that you just couldn't do anything right. And every time the idea of they're due for a clunker, Jalen Hurts is due for a clunker of a game. Every time I think that, I go, that's nonsense and poppycock. Simply because this idea of due isn't real. That's just saying to yourself, well, they've been good for too long, now they got to be bad. Ifto facto, the law of averages. That's not a reasonable argument. Yes, there are games like that exist. And yes, they are hard to pick out. This Giants game going on the road, you're a touchdown favorite in this game going into it. Yeah, the fact that we haven't seen Jalen Hurts this year be absolutely terrible, that's still not plausible evidence. That's still not concrete evidence to make me go, okay, they're due. Yeah, they're going to lose this game. No, not in the least bit. This team, the number one thing, and I've said this before, the number one reason this team is having so much success is their focus. There have been great teams in the NFL before. There have been great quarterback play, and there has been great quarterback play in the NFL before. The focus at this level is what is off the charts, because that, I think, is what gets teams playing at the next level. Focus. Never taking a team too lightly, never looking ahead down the schedule to the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. If they looked ahead at the Cowboys, they'd be like, wow, well, next week they play the Cowboys. It's not even next week. It's 2 weeks. Then they got the Bears in between. I think the Eagles are starting a new season this weekend. I think the Eagles understand they got the Giants, excuse me, 2 more times on the schedule this Sunday, and again at the end of the season. Then they got the Cowboys. I think the Eagles know they can lock up a playoff spot with a win over the Giants. And I know that they're thinking about being able to lock up number 1 seed in the NFC. That's what they have a shot at. If they don't get that, then it's a huge spoiler on what has been a great season. But when it comes to this, the last, the remaining schedule here, they're looking at the Giants twice and they're looking at the Cowboys. It's almost like they're starting a new season just to seal off the NFC East and handle their business in the division. Then after that, they can worry about taking care of business when it comes to a playoff spot. Or excuse me, the number 1 seed in the NFC. See, right there, I lost my focus for a second. Playoff spot in the NFC being a number 1 seed. That's a new season starting on Sunday. I believe that the Eagles are going to win this game over the Giants. I am not looking at the Giants, and I don't think I'm taking them too lightly. I'm assessing the situation, and I'm seeing a team right now that was 7-2 to start the season in the Brian Dable era. You know, the Giants haven't won more than, I think, 6 games in 5 years, and Brian Dable, by week 10, had this team with 7 wins. They were 7-2. Since then, I don't know if you've been paying attention, they've been terrible. They've only scored over 20 points once, and that was in their win over the Texans, that amazing Texans football club. They have been a bad football team, a very bad football team. They have had bad turnovers. They have not taken the ball away enough. They have not gotten to the quarterback as much as they would have liked, being a team that blitzes almost more than anybody in the NFL. They have had their struggles. Saquon, I mentioned, the 2.8 yards per carry over his last 3 games. John Feliciano, their center, has had injury issues, a neck injury as well. Saquon Barkley, a neck injury. Evan Neal, their offensive tackle, I believe, had a neck injury as well. There's a neck outbreak for whatever reason in the Meadowlands. So somebody check that. But the Giants have had a hell of a lot of struggles. And what started out to be a real promising season has certainly gone by the wayside right now. And the Brian Dable era that started off so beautifully at 7-2 has started to become a little bit of a kick in the ass for Giants fans. And that's something I know players, coaches are looking at right now and saying to themselves, well, how do we get back? How do we get back to where we started during the regular season, with this regular season? When other teams looked at us at the start of the year, what were we doing then? We'll ask Jordan Raanan that question coming up in just a minute. When other teams looked at us, what were we doing then versus now? By the way, we are going to end the interview. We are going to end the show today with the Jordan Raanan interview. We're doing things a little out of order today. I got an earlier call for Fox 29, so I got to go in there a second or two earlier. So just buy me some time there. Thanks, folks. Here's something that did jump out to me, a stat that jumped out to me about this game. Giants are the 10th worst team in the NFL in yards allowed. So they allow the 10th most yards allowed per game this season. When break down their rushing numbers, they allow 5.1 yards per attempt by running backs. Miles Sanders having himself a career year. All right. 5.1 yards per attempt. That's no bueno. That's terrible. So what about quarterbacks? And the idea of Wink Martindale trying to contain our man Jalen Hurts, what about quarterbacks? 5 yards per carry against quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts going to continue to eat. And one of the things that I'm really amazed by is the versatility of this offense. And I said earlier in the week, it's like the Eagles have no identity. Usually it's a negative thing to say about a team. This team has no identity. Who is this team? Like, usually you talk about it like it's a running team, it's a passing team, their defense is great. Like, that's the identity of a lot of football teams. This Eagles team, the thing that's so beautiful is they have no identity. They are a chameleon. Every game they have their own individual identity for that game, and then they move on to the next thing. Whatever. You know what our identity is? Beating you. That's right. 11-1, as I said earlier in the week. And I think that identity continues to 12-1 after this Giants game. My prediction for this Eagles-Giants matchup, Eagles win this football game 31. I love the odd score of 31 to, what did I have? 13. 31-13. That's what I have the Eagles. Another comfortable victory for the Birds. Oh, it's the division, though. The games are tough in the division. Yeah, they are most of the times when you respect your opponent. I don't respect this opponent. Not even a little bit. Jordan Raanan will join us in a minute to break that down a little bit further. Right now, let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row in Philadelphia. Folks, when it comes to your jewelry purchases, trust one man, the man with the perfect price, the man that has been in the love business for over 40 years in the city of brotherly love, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Now, what's the perfect price, you say? I'll tell you the perfect price. The perfect price is something you don't have to worry about. It's, I got to go in there. I got to make sure I get the perfect price. I want to make sure I can take advantage of. I don't want to pay too much. What if the person next to me negotiates better? They get less than I. No. At Steven Singer, you're already set at the perfect price. You don't have to worry about negotiating, haggling, anything like that. You don't have to have that pressure. You just walk in, sit down. No promo codes, no sales. The sales every day. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price. A real jewelry expert. We'll walk you through everything, all the beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory they have. So go to Steven Singer Jewelers in the corner of 8th and Walnut and enjoy the spoils of the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me tell you about the great people at Manscaped. You'll enjoy their Platinum Package 4.0. It is their biggest and best and most ultimate hygiene bundle yet. The Platinum Package 4.0 includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It also includes the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer that come with skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Plus, the Ultra Premium Body Wash 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, crop preserver, anti-chafing, ball deodorant, crop reviver, ball spray, toner. Oh, my goodness gracious. Anti-chafing boxers, who doesn't need those? And the Shed travel bag that you'll be using to hold the goods when they take care of your goods. From Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping. That's manscaped.com, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you about the great people right now of Freestone Farm CBD, freestonefarmcbd.com. If you like CBD, you want to try CBD, maybe you want to switch it up a little bit with a new CBD. Maybe you're someone that likes to take a more natural approach to everything that you put in your body. Freestone Farm CBD has entered the conversation. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Their insane tropical tasting Bayox on the strain menu is off the charts. It clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is, I don't know if you know this or not, half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. Doesn't get any better than that. They also grow all the premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all their organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all their plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Come on now. Just one look or smell will let you know it's CBD done right. Try FreestoneFarmCBD.com. 20% off when you use promo code Farzy. Let me tell you about the Mojo app. Download the Mojo app to your phone right now. Enjoy the spoils of the Mojo app. How about that? Every player, 300 skilled players in the NFL, running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, all have a share price attached to them. You have to check out Mojo. Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. Make yourself some money when it comes to the Mojo app. Download it to your phone right now. Available in New Jersey. Each player with the share price. Buy low, sell high. It's phenomenal. Available in New Jersey. Must be in New Jersey to trade on Mojo. Go to mojo.com for more information. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. I just voted on the poll. Jim, good question. Let's get into the chat check right now, a little earlier than normal. So you guys can get Jordan Raanan coming up in just a second. Let's see how you guys are doing today. Kevin, good morning. April, good morning. You never doubted Baker Mayfield, did you there, PJ? Hell of a win last night. I root for Baker Mayfield. You know why? Because the Browns forever have been like, we need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. They got Baker Mayfield. Look, they got Baker Mayfield. Okay, we got to win a playoff game. We got to win a playoff game. They beat their rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Baker Mayfield as the quarterback, and they're like, oh, Deshaun Watson available? Go get Deshaun Watson. And they cast off Baker Mayfield. They blast him into the sun, known as Carolina. And, he chose Carolina. There's talk about mending the relationship before Deshaun Watson was officially, before his suspension was officially ruled. There's talk about mending the fence, and Baker Mayfield's like, yeah, they'd really have to reach out. In other words, they'd have to kiss my ass if they want me to come back to Cleveland. He goes to Carolina. Things don't work out there. He gets released. Next thing you know, they fire the GM in Carolina. And then Baker Mayfield lands with the Rams. And what does he do last night? Game-winning throw. Good for him in Thursday Night Football. So, Jim, yeah, that was pretty awesome. April, this lineup is going to be insane. All right, let's see here. I know that most people want to see Schwarber, if not in the leadoff spot, like batting cleanup. Because generally, yeah, you want a 46-homer guy batting cleanup, knocking in runs for you. That sounds wonderful. Don't think that's going to be the case. Based on that clip from Evan, oh my God, Evan Turner, what the hell? From Trea Turner. Based on that, I think Schwarber is going to be leading off now. This is my lineup. This is what I would do. Not that anybody's asking me, Phillies. But I think Schwarber is going to stay in the leadoff spot. Sean Gillespie, never underestimate any divisional opponent, especially the NFC East. I know, but I'm doing it. I'm breaking my own rule. And even in breaking my own rule, I told you, I'm still thinking, you're a little cocky. You're getting a little too confident. Yeah, I'm a little too confident. So that should scare me, but it doesn't. Jeff, good morning. Do you think Giants will implode and not make the playoffs? They have the Eagles 2 times in Washington, also the Vikings. They could lose all those games, only beat the Colts going 1-4, maybe miss the playoffs. That's very true. That could very well happen. You are not wrong, sir. But what was the question? Do you think the Giants will implode? I think they are imploding. I mean, I think they are imploding. If you're asking me of the 2 teams, Washington or New York, Commanders or the Giants, if you're asking me which team is going to benefit from the tie and make the playoffs because of the tie more likely to, I think it's Washington. Dan Schwartz. Dan Schwartz, hey people, good to be here. I've been off recently, not feeling right. It might be that I'm smoking again after a year plus, quitting for a job, but probably best anyway. The point is, Eagles 31-13. Look at us, Daniel. Well, first off, I'm smoking again after a year plus, quitting for a job, but probably the best. So you're smoking again. Gotcha. Yeah, none of my friends really got into the smoking. I don't really know anybody that smokes anymore. Yeah. But hey, good luck to you, Dan. Seriously. And we have the same score, brother. And welcome back, as always. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Morning, Dan and Mark have the oh, there we go. Yeah, we do have the same score. Hope you're doing all right. Yeah, we all hope, Dan. We're all here for you, pal. April, I'm not sure why I called you Dan. Oh, that's right, Dan. Yeah, we're here for you, pal. You know that. You know what, Dan? You know what I'm gonna do for you? I'm gonna make you a picture. How about that, huh? How about I draw you a picture? You know, you've never drawn me a picture, drawn me a picture, but you've done the Photoshop, and I'm not good at that. But I'll get you a picture. I'll get you a picture to lift your spirits. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. For inside knowledge, the insight that we can get from the Giants beat reporter from ESPN, Jordan Raanan, joins the show. Listen, this is the end for me for today. I'm leaving you guys with this. Eagles win this game 31-13. That's what I'll give you. I got to run over to Fox 29, do a hit there, but I wanted to make sure you guys still have that fresh content for the show. So we're airing the interview last. So PJ, thank you. You're the best. Jim Hyden produced program, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Right now, and we're presented by Steven Singer Jewelers. Right now, Jordan Raanan joins us from ESPN. I didn't even know this, but right outside the Giants practice facility.
This one.
From ESPN, Giants beat reporter, formerly of Comcast Sportsnet, my buddy Jordan Raanan joining us right now. What's up, Jordan?
You killed that pronunciation, by the way. You did it. You killed it.
Put a little stank on it.
I'm doing good, man. Everything's good. Look, it's, we got a competitive team this year to cover. The Giants are in the playoff hunt in December. It's been rare since I've been here over the last 8-9 seasons. So yeah, we'll take it. Look, they might be semi-fraudulent. Like, that's fine. We don't care. They're competitive.
What was the reaction to that tie? That was a fun tie against Washington. What happened there?
It's like, huh? It's like, wait, is that you literally you walk away at the end of the game and you're trying to think in your head, well, is that good for them? Is that bad for them? Like, how do you make sense of it? And in reality was they play Washington again after this game, and that's like the whole season now, because like whoever wins that game is probably going to make the playoffs as one of the NFC wild card teams, and whoever doesn't win that game is likely going to be out depending on what Seattle does. But so it just makes that game much more important in 2 weeks' time. Like, that's the big game for the Giants now. We're kind of expecting them to lose this game. They're 7-point underdogs. And Eagles are 11-1. So the Giants haven't fared particularly well against the better teams that they face this year for the most part. So that game is now that much more important in 2 weeks' time. So not to say they're overlooking this one, but their season is likely going to come down to how they do in next week's game.
For the people just listening on the podcast and not watching on YouTube or other digital outlets, I just want to point out that Jordan is in full trench coat mode, ESPN reporter, outside of this is the real deal, folks. Okay, just so you have that picture in your head.
I got the suit, the tie, the jacket, and the jacket, but of course, you don't want to go below. I got the I did the quick Clark Kent change.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, in a bed. I had to tape something else. It wasn't just for you. I'm going to be honest. It wasn't just for you.
Here's the thing. I don't care. I'll still tell myself that just to help me sleep at night.
Exactly. Just for you, Mark. Just for you.
You already flaunt that beautiful head of hair of yours, damn it. Anyway, so here's what I got for you. Before we get to the Eagles and the respect of the Eagles and all that stuff, I saw your tweet earlier.
Saquon Barkley limited in practice? What was the issue there? What's going on there? Is he going to play? He's not playing. What's happening?
Yeah, the funny part is, so we just talked to Saquon probably like an hour ago, and there was no mention made of the neck. He said he's not injured, he's fine, and then he shows up on the practice report an hour later with a neck limited. I don't think it's anything you should worry about. The Giants should worry about, or anyone who has Saquon as a fantasy owner should worry about it, at least right now. I fully expect him to play. He was on the practice field. He was jumping around, dancing, running drills when we were out there earlier, so I wouldn't make too much of it. Maybe it'll affect his ability to put his head down or put his shoulder down and try to run through people. But that's not the part of Saquon's game that actually makes him thrive anyway. So I'm not making too much of it.
What's been going on with Giants players and their necks recently? Because I saw John Feliciano had a neck. Right? Was it Evan Neal? Evan Neal had the issue with his
Josh Azudu,
Josh Azudu.
John Feliciano.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley, I believe there's Leonard Williams was the other one. Yeah. So like 4 neck injuries. You're like, the heck? Yeah, it is weird. It's like a huge run on neck injuries, which we actually passed that same comment you did today. And it's like, that's a strange one. I don't know. You don't really know what to make of that. Like, is there a common thread to all these neck injuries? I don't think so. But
somebody talk to the Giants chiropractor if they have a chiropractor. Just somebody talk to that guy.
Every team has a chiropractor, some way, shape, or form.
Exactly, in some way, shape, or form. Exactly. So, all right, what has been the problem with not necessarily just Saquon Barkley himself, but the whole running game? I mean, he's averaging something like 2.8 yards per carry over the last 3 games. It's been unreal to watch a guy so talented be limited so much. Is it because the offensive line is banged up? What's the deal there?
Well, he told me entering this past week's game against Washington, and I brought up to him, I said, everyone's saying you're either injured or you're wearing down from the heavy workload. And he told me that's BS, like flat out. He said, I'm fine. I just haven't played well. Like, so that's part of it. Now, he's taking the blame. He's showing accountability there. At the same time, the offensive line had been banged up. They had some guys move around. They had a bunch of guys out of the lineup, especially in that Dallas game when they were just a mass unit. And also, Mark, they don't have any weapons on the outside. There's like nothing that scares you, like literally nothing. So when you have that and you have a running back as talented as Saquon, we know what's the other team thinking going into every single game. We need to stop this guy. We are going to stop him. That is goal number 1, number 2, and number 3. So you put that all together, and I think that's contributed to, why Saquon hasn't been as successful here late in the season.
Last thing on the Giants, and then I want to know what you think about the Eagles, but what has Brian Daboll done? What has Mike Kafka done? How is this, Wink Martindale, how has this team really looked a lot different than what we have seen in most recent years with the New York Giants?
They made the most out of what they have. They're not super talented team. They're not overly talented. They have holes all over the roster. Go read their roster. You'll be like, what? Who are these guys? They're like Major League, the movie, with the Indians, like where they're trying to tank and lose, but they keep the owner and the GM wanting to lose, but they keep winning. Like that's kind of what it felt like around here early this year. Like they kind of expected to have a really bad year. All of a sudden, hey, they're winning because Wink Martindale's getting the most out of every guy on the defense. He's blitzing left and right. He's doing all different things. Same with Kafka and Daboll with the offense. I mean, they really were. They were making every big play late in games. They were winning every close game. But if you look at it, you kind of knew that it would eventually revert to the mean that part of their winning, like everything was going in their way. Every bounce was going their way. They were making every big play down the stretch. And they were playing easier competition than they are now. So now you see them playing better competition. Not everything's going their way. They're not playing completely mistake-free. And they have so little margin for error that any mistakes then come back and bite them in the butt. So, but I do think that Brian Daboll has established a new culture here, and that culture is a lot easier to establish when you're winning early in the season. So I think that helped them a lot.
Certainly, and you kind of snuck something in there. Has Mike Kafka not now upgraded to Kafka? Is he now a Kafka guy?
I don't know. That just may be how I pronounce it.
Okay.
Kafka compared to Kafka?
Kafka. Yeah,
Kafka?
I don't know.
I gotta bring it to him. I gotta see what he says.
Yeah, see what's up. See, I did a bar event with him and Reuben Frank when he was with the Eagles. When Mike Kafka was here with the Eagles. Couldn't have been a nicer guy.
How do you pronounce it?
I say Kafka.
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 And I say Kafka.
Kafka.
It might just be like a New York thing that I
Might be-
say it that way. I don't know. I got to ask him that.
Now, you know what?
Yes.
First question,
curious.
next coordinator's press
Yep.
conference day. Hey, Kafka.
Oh, no,
Kafka.
before then. I'm going
then.
to grab him like the next couple of days.
He's a great guy. I love that guy.
He is a good guy.
And really happy for his ascent in the coaching ranks and coordinator now. Here's the deal. All right. The Eagles, everyone likes to talk about respect. Yeah, this team doesn't respect us. How much respect do you think the Eagles are getting from you guys with the New York media? How much do you think they're getting from the national media? How much should other teams be respecting the Eagles right now?
Are you saying the Eagles and people in Philadelphia don't think they're being respected?
That
enough?
is correct. That is correct.
That's actually mind-blowing to hear. Everybody that I know thinks that they're the best team in the league. I mean, they're super talented. Look at the roster. They're 11-1. You listen to the Giants speak, and this is the 85 Bears, for God's sakes. I don't know. But these, an old San Francisco 49ers team. I certainly don't sense a lack of respect. I think everybody's looking at it. You know what Brian Dable said? I said to him this week, I said, what is it about the tape when you watch the Eagles that impresses you? And he said, everything. Like, literally. And then he ripped off, he said, the quarterback, the wide receivers, the offensive line, the defensive line, the cornerbacks, like all these things pop off the tape to him. So I don't see the lack of respect. I think everybody views this as the best team in the NFC, probably the best team in the NFL right now.
All right. First off, I just want to send a message to our social media team. When you guys do the quote boards later, I literally want Jordan Raanan, his quote to be the whatever that was in the beginning of that. Like, don't respect the Eagles.
I'm stunned to hear that. I really am. I didn't realize that was the narrative in Philadelphia. They're playing an underdog card, like at 11-1. Come on, man.
Yes, people don't respect us. They don't think we're for real. It's too soft a schedule. Blah,
Mark,
blah, blah.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's
When
that?
Odell Beckham was here, he always played the underdog card. He was like, I've been an underdog my whole life. And we always used to joke, we're like, dude went to, Eli and Peyton's, private high school, went to LSU, was the 12th pick in the draft, and set like every record as in his first few years in the league. When the hell was that guy an underdog his whole life?
When he went up against the kicking net. Yeah, that's right. I went there. I went there. Come on. All right. These are the jokes, folks. All right. All right. Now let's talk about the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. The way you see it shaking out right now, MVP race-wise, where do you have Jalen Hurts ranked with the MVP candidates right now?
Yeah, I'm going to say he's probably 1B, a little bit behind Mahomes.
A little bit. Okay.
A little bit, but and I think the differentiator here is going to be how many games do the Eagles win compared to how many games the Chiefs win, right? And also, look, Mahomes is going to throw close to 50 touchdown passes if he continues on this pace. I don't know, and I know people down there are like, well, Jalen Hurts has had a better year, blah, blah, blah. And I get it, but let's be fair. Whose team around him do we think is better right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
The Eagles have
the better team.
Sure.
So if Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, I think, are on the same level, that it's going to go to Mahomes because, I mean, if we're picking a team, who do we think is the better player?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's fair. Like I think Jalen Hurts has been great this year, but I mean, you say who do I want on my team as my quarterback? I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes. And
you're going to take Mahomes this year. Okay.
Yeah,
See, this is what I'm talking about. The lack of respect for the Eagles, man. Why you hate the Eagle?
He's 1B in the MVP race. How dare me disrespect him like that? No,
why didn't you make him 1AA? God.
And also, you have to remember. So when people go and they start looking at the numbers, they're going to be like, okay, Mahomes threw 48 touchdown passes, Hurts threw 30, right? Compared to 6 interceptions for Hurts, whatever the final numbers are, and Mahomes 10 or whatever it is. But they're not going to see like, whoa, he also has 12 rushing touchdowns. Like, passing touchdowns is what plays with the quarterback, I think, a little bit more than rushing touchdowns. So I think when it comes down to it, if they're on the same level, that Mahomes would get it. But if Kansas City loses a couple more games and Eagles go 16-1, in that situation, I definitely see Hurts winning.
Can you think of like a couple players? Like, anybody jump to mind that had the type of jump in year 2 as a starter, the way Jalen Hurts has? Like, any football players jump to mind that have had that kind of leap in ability?
Can we count Joe Burrow? But his was because he was injured.
Yeah,
so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It's tough.
Can't
right?
argue. Yeah, he's been. I was a doubter a little bit on the passing side of him, and I know most people in Philadelphia were probably there too. Like, they had questions about whether he could be a consistent passer, but he's played amazing this year. I don't think there's anyone that doubts it. Wink Martindale talked a little bit today about how you could tell he worked on his footwork and his delivery and everything, and then you see a different quarterback this year. So
do you get an early sense at all as to whether or not the Giants, with as versatile an offense as the Eagles have, do you get a sense at all whether or not the Giants are going to be focusing on the passing game, the run game, kind of going to feel it out in the early goings? How do you think Wink Martindale approaches this game?
I think they always started out like this is just his approach of stopping the run. Like that's like how Wink Martindale operates. Like, rule number one, stop the run. Like that's his thing. And then I'm going to bring pressure and blitz the heck out of you. So I fully expect that to be the Giants' approach here. Now, the Giants have not had a great run defense in it, but it's not like traditional, okay, we'll just pound the ball up the middle on them. Teams have just gashed them on the edges, running the ball on the edges. So I think if the Eagles have success, it's probably going to be with running stretch type plays, outside zone type plays, and getting Jalen Hurts on the outside and attacking sort of like their cornerbacks and their secondary and misdirection with their inside linebackers. So I think that's probably how, if you're the Eagles, everyone else has done it, so they'll just do the same thing, right? And Jalen Smith starts at middle linebacker for the Giants. Yes, Mark, that Jalen Smith. Yes, that Jalen Smith.
That guy? Oh, that guy?
That guy. The guy from Notre Dame, Dallas, that guy. He's in the league. He starts for the Giants at middle linebacker.
Speaking of college, Brian Dable was there on Bama's staff when they went over to that Jalen Hurts fellow and said, why don't you take a seat and this Tua guy's going to come in and we're just going to see what happens. Has Brian Dable talked about that at all this week and what that means to him, if anything?
Yeah, he says, he has complete respect for Tua. He loves the individual, loves the person. And he said to me the other day, he said, you were kind of quiet at that press conference. And I said, yeah, I could have asked you if Jalen hates your guts. You did bench him in the championship game. He's like, I don't think so. Did you ask him? But yeah, I don't think that's the relationship that exists. I think, first of all, Jalen Hurts doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would hold that grudge and right. Would hold it personally against anybody. Like, if he does, I guess it's Nick Saban and not Brian Dable. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, he said, he loves Jalen Hurts and he loves the fact that he's seen this kind of growth from him, and he did not surprised at all knowing the person, forget the player, knowing the person, the way he works, and everything you guys hear about in Philadelphia all the time. The dude is the epitome of leadership, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what he is. And so that's kind of what you heard from Brian Dable about Jalen Hurts.
I'm going to ask you the toughest question possible right now. We talked about it briefly with Saquon Barkley. After Saquon Barkley, Jordan, who do the Eagles need to stop? So he's one, and I don't even know if you guys have a 1A, 1B, a 2, or a 3. Who's number 4? Who's the guy after Saquon?
I'm a candidate right now for that spot. Like, that's where we're at. Like, no, Darius Slayton is their top weapon at wide receiver. Look, he's not a star receiver, but at least he's an NFL receiver. That's where we're at here, Mark. Like, that's what we're looking at with the Giants receiving core, is if you're NFL caliber, we're like, okay, well, at least he's an NFL caliber receiver and he has something. Like, they don't have much on the outside. It's Darius Slayton. Isaiah Hodgins is their other starting receiver. You're talking about a guy, by the way, who was claimed off waivers from Buffalo probably 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, and he's starting for the Giants at wide receiver. Daniel Bellinger has done some nice things at tight end, rookie out of San Diego State, but he's more of the Giants' scheme plays for him, not he's going to go and win one-on-one. So, gotcha. Yes, Brian, and that's part of what Dable and Kafka have done when I talk about maximizing the talent that they have, is taking guys like Bellinger. Okay, he's a good inline blocker. We'll use that, and then we'll scheme him open with some play action, move the pocket. You're going to see that a ton. The Giants know they have to do that. The interior of the offensive line is not great pass blocking. Move Daniel Jones, get him on the outside, move the pocket, use his legs. That's their recipe for success. So when they have success, that's what they do.
Two quick ones for you. Okay. This one here, literally 5 seconds on this. The Giants have won one game in their last 5, including obviously they have that tie. What's Houston. The number?
Big one against Houston.
Why have they only won that one game?
they just offensively they're just not as explosive enough.
Okay.
Defensively, they've been beat up a little bit. So yeah,
Fair enough.
I mean,
Fair enough.
they're playing better. They're playing better. Competition is really also part of a huge part of that.
Okay. And then finally, can you give us a prediction for this weekend's game? Where are you leaning? Are you leaning to the Eagles? Are you leaning to the Giants? Where are you leaning for this game on Sunday?
I'll say this. So after the Giants tied, which is weird to say, against Washington, I said to a couple people in the press box, I said, I'm going to go look what the spread is for next week. What do you think it is? And we all thought it was going to be double digits.
Ooh.
That's what I thought it was going to be. It opened at 6.5, which is way lower than I thought. So that kind of tells you where I'm at on this. I thought this is going to be really tough. The Giants have no wide receivers. The Eagles' cornerbacks are great, right? That's one of the strengths of the team. The Eagles are really good in the interior of the defensive line. The Giants struggle pass protection in the interior of the defensive line. The Eagles have a great running game. The Giants struggle stopping the running game. So it's just the matchup to me is just not ideal. The only saving grace, if you're the Giants, is that the Eagles have not consistently, I know they've been better recently, stopped the run. Right? They've had struggles at times this year stopping the run. The Giants had been, at least at some point this year, a good running team. They're still up near the top of the league. So that's their path to success. That's to me their only path. If they don't run the ball well, they won't be in this game.
Gotcha. His name is Jordan Raanan, ESPN, New York Giants beat reporter. Make sure you see that. See that? I'm a cultured man. I'm gonna start having people say my name, Farsetta. Check him out on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. The guy does great stuff. Does a great job as a Giants beat writer. Jordan, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you.
Mark, man, anytime.
The other man, and great trench coat. Jordan Raanan joining us on the Ruffin Orthopedics guest line.